Hey guys, first video with the new phone. This is, I don't know, basically the fourth cut on the Cobra Shelby 289 race project, trying to get a design that's really designed for 6,500 RPM to 8,500 RPM piece. Not the easiest thing to do without cutting it in half. But we're going to go over a little bit of manifold theory and a few other things. And my main priority with the last cut was getting our number 5 runner to pick up, because that was only 236. And that's what I was testing through the head. So some of the things that you want to work on as far as pushing a manifold's RPM capability. Okay, the easiest thing would be this. Dump a 1-inch spacer on top, adds a ton of plenum volume. Not every engine will like that. Okay. The owner of this said he has about enough room to put a 1-inch spacer. And we could certainly do that, or we could do something like this Sexy Wilson spacer. These spacers are all from my buddy Rob, who stopped by and let me borrow them, because I couldn't find any of mine. So it's really cool. He'll let me do some testing with this. And to be honest, I have a feeling this is really going to be kind of a winner. And I could do a little more work to that plenum to make it fit perfect. Okay. Now, as far as the casting itself, what can you do? Well, you got a decent amount of material, but it does have an exhaust crossover, okay? So you've got 1/4 inch of so material before this. Well, you may and you may not. I had to sonic it, and I brought it out as far as I could that way. I mean, if we put a straight edge on it, that wall is not straight, okay? We have 1/4 inch here for gasket compressibility. But the rest of that blows out. Remember, this is the problem plenum. This one has more trouble feeding the air because it's got a tighter turn ratio. Especially number 5. Number 5, look at how low that, we're going to call it a short side, because that's basically how it's modified. It's modified like a short side. And as you can see from this view, this has been widened a lot. Widened a lot, and it has a polished texture on the apex. That did help. That was the biggest plus of this, the mods, was getting that one up. Almost all the other runners went down a touch. So I need to look at that. Okay, you can see how much different that short side height is for runner number 8. Okay, it's got some decent height, which is going to help. You can put a better radius on that. So that also got an expanded short side, but not as much. And as of right now, that actually is flowing a little bit less than number 5. So I could do more work to that one and bring it up a touch, which I'm sure is in the cards. The notch itself was made a little bit wider and a little bit deeper. Now, I had a conversation with DV about his 500 horsepower 289s. And, okay, guys, sorry, bothered by Wi-Fi. I have no idea where we were, so let's move on. Okay, these runners are actually 2 of our best because they kind of look like a tunnel ram, as I stated before. But what I wound up doing is, if you take a look at how these runners are designed, right? The opening of this runner here, the way it's set up, right? It should be getting wider and wider. And I guess in reality, it is, but I don't know if you guys can see it, but this edge right here is really a problem because the air has to go across number 2 runner. So there's a lot to be gained by doing some work in there. And in reality, what you wind up doing is you move this wall back and shrink the short runner a little bit more. Not great, but what are you going to do? You need to feed the long runners better because they're the problem runners. Okay, you can see by this angle here, this has been brought out this way quite a bit, okay, to give a better short side radius. I'm not sure if this point is even going to last. I will do some more testing and then finalize the plenum. What I was saying was DV brought that, he told me to bring it all the way down. And it may happen that way. I have to see what I can get out of it piece by piece before I bring that all the way down. Just like flow numbers, you know, you want to keep the curve fat in the middle. Same idea with your intake. All right, you want to keep your torque curve nice and fat. It is going to be, you know, road raced, so just hacking it all out so it does get to 8,500 might work, but how much mid-range you're going to lose? I need to think about these things. Before I forget, you guys need to check out Eric Weingartner's video he did a couple days ago with had PRI, and then it had the manifold test where he talked about the Holly split I sent over to him. Now, how that came about is a while ago he was doing some manifold testing, and he asked if anyone had a LS3 manifold he could test. I gave him a call right away. I said, "Hey, I got this ported Holly. You want me to send it to you?" He's like, "Yep, send it." I said, "Okay, cool." Packed it up, sent it. That was as far as that conversation really went. But now I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain that manifold wound up being the highest horsepower manifold he had tested on that LS3. Now that was with the bigger AFR heads, the bigger headers, and I don't know whether it was a 4150 or a Dominator he had bolted on top of the split manifold, but that came out either 717 or 720 at the Cam Challenge meeting in PRI. He did say 720. In any case, there were a couple guys that recorded that PRI meeting. I was quiet. I was in the back. I didn't say much except when Eric said my name wrong, but that's okay. It's serve Dio, serve God in Italian. It's not real difficult, but it's okay. I mean, I know he's not doing it on purpose. It doesn't really bother me. What else we got to talk about? Oh, two other highlights of PRI for me. I wasn't really feeling good. I met Brian Salter. He was in the Cam Challenge, and by the conversation, I was just listening because there are a lot. I'm not a Cam guy. I was there to learn. And I could tell Brian is never going to make any money as a poker player because you can read everything on his face. And I'm watching the Cam experts and what they say, and I'm watching Brian's face, and I'm going, I agree with Brian a lot on a lot of things. And after the meeting, we met and we had a real nice long talk, and I got a really good feeling of meeting him. So I've been texting him, bugging him once in a while. Seems like a super nice guy. You have to check out his channel. He has got a lot of really good stuff. And I commented on a couple of them. I really get a good feeling about him. Hopefully, him and I will be able to do some stuff together in the future. That would be great. My other high point was having a long talk with Mike Jones and this project and what we could do with the cam. Mike Jones has got it under control with, I don't think I'm going to tell you, but the cam can be optimized for the shorter runners on those lobes and the longer runners on those lobes. pretty interesting if you think about it. And he says, yeah, you'll be able to fix it right up. So, like, I've said often before, no, you cannot replace experience, guys. Guys with a lot of experience, which is one of the reasons I want to get together with Brian Salter. He's got a lot of racing experience, and I don't. My stuff was hot street stuff for a very long time. Hot street stuff with no budget. But now I get to play on stuff like this and try to make the best of it, which is kind of the same idea, really. Taking something that's not meant to make the power that you really want to make and getting it done. Okay, let me recoup my thoughts. To finish up Eric Weingartner, the end of that video, he shows the dynos of the Super Victor, the Vic Jr., and my Holly. And my Holly did quite well. Now, that wasn't the highest output package, but it's very interesting if you start taking a look at it. Now that had a finish not quite as rough as this. I did a special finish on that manifold. I told Eric, I'm like, it'll probably need a couple jets taken out of it. And if you take a look at the air-fuel ratio, it's pig rich. It's like 12:1 or 12:2 throughout the curve, and it still made better horsepower and torque than everyone else. So I definitely want you guys just to check that out and do some comments on that. And I'm not saying anything bad about Eric. I super appreciate him doing that for me, but I think it would have made even better power if the air-fuel ratio was kept a little leaner. You guys give me your input on that. I don't have a ton of dyno experience, so straighten me out if I'm wrong. Okay, this really won't take long. All right, this was a stock. This was with a full divider. This is with the notch divider. And this is a deeper notch and more plenum work to work on, especially these two runners, because they were really in bad shape, right? This was 236. And this was like 249. Okay, that ain't going to cut it. So did a bunch of work on 5. It went up to 260. It's now one of our best runners. Okay. This runner really didn't get any work done to it except the plenum notch. And it went up quite a bit. This one went down quite a bit, which is kind of interesting. Okay. I need to look at that. Now this one is definitely too low. And this one actually went down a touch. We went from 246 to 242. Not great. All right, we got 1 plus, 2 minuses. Not good. Okay, other side. We went from 249 to 246. Went down. Now that is, number 1 is the lower plenum. It's very hard to modify the apex of that to get in the plenum going to the turn. Very tough to get to. So you do what you do what you can do, and then get it. And the other thing that I'd like to think, I think these numbers in the black pen, I think we had a little more leakage past the foam pillow. Just not making an excuse, just I did a really good job on this one. Now these two, these are the upper plenum that look like a tunnel ramp. They both went up. Now they didn't get any work. They got work to feed these guys, okay? And they did get a little bit shorter because I was trying to make the air want to go to the longer runners. 263.6, 263.2. Those two runners are banging, right? And number 4 actually went down after the plenum got changed around. So where do we need to emphasize our work? We need to work on 4, 1, 7, and 8. And that's how I do it, guys. Slow and painful. Now, all of this is done without a spacer. Should I put a spacer on it and retest everything? It's actually a good question. And sometimes like stuff like that, you know what I'm going to do? This is how I'll do it. Is I'll take a look at this and see if there's any low-hanging fruit to get those few CFM back where it's got to be. Same with these other ones that are lower. If there's no low-hanging fruit, then I have to test it and get more out of the Plenum. Remember, most of these gains are from the Plenum. The runners, you can't do that much with them. You can't get, and I even bought an extra long 9-inch burr. I bought an extra long 9-inch burr for this manifold from Buckeye Carbide. I go to the guy that was at the booth, and I go, hey, I'm the guy that sells Buckeye Carbides online. I tell all my guys to go buy their stuff from Buckeye Carbide. He looks me dead in the eye and goes, no one's ever said that. I'm like, okay, this is what I need. So, it's up to you if you want to buy from Buckeye Carbide. They do make a nice product. Not a cheap piece, but well worth it for what I'm doing. Sorry, brain freeze. This was the other piece I bought from Buckeye Carbide. It's a reverse taper for short sides, which I got just for this manifold. This one I was a little upset at. Brand new, bring it home, it's bent. Not thrilled with that. Sorry, Buckeye Carbide. Never happened before, but I got it pretty straight. It's pretty good the way it is, but the straighter the better, because you want a very fine finish. If it's got a bent shaft, it gives you a rougher finish. So that's what I treated myself to at PRI. Interesting trip. I don't know if I'm going to be going again, to be honest. I really liked Eric's seminar. That was well worth going to. Met a couple good people there. A couple people at the seminar. Met Clark. Met Mr. Steele, I think his name was. Nice people. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I got to get some work done today. Have a good night.